Alright, what's up guys? Glad you guys were able to join the league, those who are brand new. What I want to do is show you guys how to be able to work the system, how to play the game, fantasy. I have it one side over here with my phone, I have the other side over here with the laptop. There's kind of a pro and a con to both of them. The best thing about having it on your phone is obviously you can access it any time that you need to. The computer actually, to me, is a little bit easier to use just because you have more options available, but it just depends on which one you prioritize. It really doesn't matter. I use both. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open up my Yahoo Fantasy app. If you haven't downloaded it yet, I'd highly recommend you go ahead and download that. So we're going to go ahead and open it up. It'll probably ask you for your login. What you'll do is go ahead and sign right in. And then it basically brings you straight to your page. Now, if you have not set up your team, it's going to probably look blank here. What that means is that you're just going to have to scroll down, and then you will see all your players down here. So the best way to be able to get your players into their starting spots is all you have to do is click on the little button right there next to their name. Let's say I want to put Tony Pollard. He's a running back, as you can see. Maybe I want him to be one of my starters. I would just click right here on that little bench number, and then this brings it up. Now, what you could do is we have 4 starting positions that he is available to go play in. Obviously, the running back spots he can go start in. We have 2 flex spots, so I'm going to go ahead and click out of here real quick just so you can see. What this means is that we have a wide receiver, a running back, and a tight end who can play in any of these positions to try to get you more points. So if we look at my bench, I have wide receivers, running backs, just a lot of running backs on my bench apparently. I don't have any quarterbacks, which is fine. A quarterback cannot play in that extra bonus position. We're not playing that type of a league. You can only have one quarterback, but all the rest you have the opportunity to have extras. So if I want Tony Pollard in there in one of those flex spots, you can put it. It doesn't matter which one you do. It's not like you get extra points if you put him in a running back flex. It does not matter. Let's say I want to switch him with Devontae Smith, right? Because maybe I think he's going to score more points. I would just click right there with Devontae Smith. Now we can see Tony Pollard is in there and Devontae Smith is out. I'm going to go ahead and just switch them back, and maybe I want, instead of Devontae Smith being in there, maybe I want Bateman out. So I'm going to go ahead and switch. Right, it doesn't matter, and you will see a direct reflection as far as your projected points for the week, which will be right up here. On the computer over here, you'll do the exact same thing. So once you sign in, it brings you right here to the league. What you could do is click right up here on your My Team, and you do it the exact same way. So let's say, for example, you can already see that the switch has been made. Tony Pollard is there, Devontae Smith is there. Maybe I now want Rashad Bateman back up there. If you click him, you can now see it's just kind of more intuitive. It just highlights the sections where they can go. I'm going to maybe put him back there. There's the direct switch. If I go back over here, it probably has not been made yet until I just refresh, pull it down, and just refresh the page. The switch has been made. So it's kind of cool. You get to see kind of both ways. There are little announcements that could be made about players, maybe regarding, like right now you can see that Isaiah McKenzie is questionable. What you could do, and it shows this little blue square right there. If you click on that, it brings kind of up their information. It kind of talks about their bye week, their projected rank, game logs, which will show you like a lot of their points projected throughout the year. If I go back to overview, you can see that maybe there's like a little video talking about his projected outcome maybe for the year. They're talking about his status. So if we get players that are injured, this is a great resource to kind of have where they'll talk about, hey, he's questionable. Now, don't always get concerned with questionable. By some points in the league, you're going to have half your team be questionable, that just happens. I mean, it's football. There's days that I'm questionable coming into work, and yet I have a great day coming into work. So we can't just always get worried every time we see questionable, even though it will cause for concern. Don't automatically think I have to take that guy out of the game. Sometimes the tricky part is when they say that it's a game time decision, meaning you might have to take the risk, and it's possible that you go all the way up until the game, and then he doesn't play and he gets you 0 points. So that's just sometimes the risk that you got to take. The way that the scoring works is as far as when do players have to be locked into their position, that happens at the point that their game starts. So let's say, for example, on Sunday right here, it's at 5:20 and CeeDee Lamb is still questionable. And I'm like, I think I'm going to stick with CeeDee Lamb, and then he does not play. He's locked into that spot. I cannot switch him out, even if he gets me 0 points. I cannot switch him out. But until that time, I have the ability to switch him out. But here's the catch. Let's say I wanted to switch him out with Isaiah McKenzie. Well, that's not the greatest example because they both start at the same time. But it doesn't matter. If another player down here had a time that started earlier, they are locked into that position too. Basically assume that once the game starts, if he's on the bench, he's locked on the bench. If he's a starter, he's locked as a starter. So you'll figure that out pretty quickly when you realize you made a wrong choice and maybe that guy gets you 0 points. So just something to watch out for throughout the week. So don't, again, panic every time a guy gets questionable. Just realize that's something you got to watch in case you need to make a late minute switch on maybe like Sunday morning before the game start on Sunday. So just be aware of that. Excellent. What I'm going to do is on the bottom here, I'm going to go ahead and click on League. And that's actually just going to take me right back to, if I click League over on the computer side, it takes me to the same screen. So you can see right here, these are our records. Actually, if I go ahead and click, I'm going to click on View Details on the phone. This is kind of right down here, the same thing. So you can see that it has me at the top. It has a 0-0 record just because that's the way the system's all set up. It's already got Eschaton sitting at the bottom, which is probably where he's going to stay, which is great. So we have me at the top here, and then we also have these over here. These are brand new. So those who are just joining the league, this is a little different setup than last year. Those who were playing last year, definitely pay attention to this one. When we normally pick up players, if they're not during a specific time of the week, you are free to pick up anybody that you want to. However, as we get closer to games and closer kind of throughout the week, there's a system called a waiver system. Let me explain how that works. So we have waivers here all the way down the side, 1 through 12. What this means is it's basically a priority system. Now, let's say, for example, Eschaton wants to pick up somebody, right? It doesn't matter. I don't know. Maybe he wants to pick up a new quarterback, right? Because maybe his got injured or something like that. What Eschaton's going to do is he's going to go try to find that player. And once he decides, so let's say, for example, we're going to go, so if I go down here on the bottom, this is where we can find new players. And on the computer, if we go up the top here, I click on players. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. And here are the top available players. And I can kind of do the same thing here. So I can go all available players over on the computer here. You can break it down by maybe like certain teams if you want to. It really doesn't matter. You can go by projection total if you want. So I can scroll to the top and be like, who's going to get the best for week 1 projection? And then I can filter. And it looks like, okay, there's the Trey Lance, right? Trey Lance is over on this side as well. Let's say, for example, I want to get Trey Lance. Okay, so what I can do is I can go ahead and click on the little button over here. Now, since it's yellow, that's where it's going to bring, oh, sorry, I got to click actually on the button. Okay, so there we go. It brings you down here, and then you can see the claim down here. And once again, I could do it over on this side as well. But I'm going to go ahead and click that claim button. Now, I don't automatically get him because what's going to happen is you can only have a certain amount of players on your team. So what I can do is, in order for me to get Trey Lance, I have to drop somebody else. So let's say, for example, I don't know, I want to drop my defense, which is down over here. So what I could do is I would click on my defense, highlight it. It's kind of blocked by this guy, I apologize, but there's my defense over here. I go add drop. Okay, here's the part that we got to pay attention to. We all start off with $100. Now, the way that the system works is, let's say Eschaton wants Trey Lance as well. What's going to happen is it's going to start with Eschaton because he has priority number 1, and it's going to look at his offer, his bid. Maybe Eschaton wants to put $5 towards a bid to be able to buy Trey Lance. Well, what it then does is go up to priority number 2. Do they have an offer for Trey Lance? No. 3, no. 4, no. Let's say it comes up to me, and I had already put $6 as an offer. Now, I don't know how much Eschaton's putting for him, but let's say I actually outbid Eschaton and get $6. I would win that offer. So what I would do is I would just hit done, right? And I would hit confirm. So that means my bid has been placed. Now, once again, I didn't know how much Eschaton had. Now, if Eschaton bids $10, so I'll go ahead and, I'll go ahead and hit confirm here. So that way you can just see my bid. So my waiver has been placed. Now what I could do is I could just exit out of there, and then I'm going to go back to my team just down here on the bottom, and it will show you my transaction is up here, my pending transaction. And if I click it, I could see there was Trey Lance. There was my bid of $6. I could actually probably go and change it if I want to. Maybe I'm like, you know what? Oh, man, I really need Trey Lance. I'm going to up that bid to, let's go, I don't know. What do we think? I don't know, $10 or something like that. Maybe I got to click over here. I can go like $10. And then I would hit Save Changes. Okay, now like I said, it goes through Eschaton. Let's say Eschaton bid $12. Eschaton gets him. But here's the downside for Eschaton if he gets him. I'm going to go back to the league over here. And I'm going to click on that View Details. What that does now is that moves Eschaton from waiver 1 to waiver 12 because he just picked up a player. So that means now he is last in the list as far as having that opportunity. Once again, this really doesn't matter too much if you actually place a waiver, but here's something pretty cool. If you think that there's a player, let's say I actually want Kirk Cousins, and what I could do is I can do a Kirk Cousins for, I don't know, my kicker. this is all stupid that I would do this, but I'm just saying, Kirk Cousins, you can actually place a $0 bid. If you think nobody else wants him, meaning you don't have to waste any money at all. You only get $100 for the year, not just to pick up players, because you could pick up players for free, but in order to try to outbid another team to get that priority player. So if there's somebody that you're like, it'd be nice that they're on my team, but I don't need them, like essentially, but I would like them, maybe just place a $0 bid. And if you get that player, again, your priority goes all the way back to zero, like to 12. Okay, I know this is a little confusing, but you'll start to figure this out as you go. But there are going to be times throughout the season where you're like, I have to try to get this player. All my quarterbacks are injured. I have to get a player, so I need to dump some money on there. And so you can place a bid. You obviously need to kind of take a look and see, do I need to place a massive bid or do I not need to place a massive bid? That is completely up to you. So you can place $0 bids, but if you really prioritize a player, you go do that. Now let's say all of a sudden something changes and I don't want Trey Lance and I want to take him off so that I don't accidentally drop my defense. I click on that button again and I go cancel claim down here. Do you want to cancel the claim? Yes, I do. The claim is now canceled and now I don't have this and it shows it right there still. All I have to do is pull down to refresh the page and it should go away. Once it goes, it'll go away. Just give it some time. It's probably just got to process in the system. There it goes. Okay. So again, waiver system. The way that this works, again, there is a waiver ranking system, and I'll go back and show you guys again. Eschaton is ranked number 1, and it works its way all the way up. Just because I'm 12 doesn't mean I can't get a guy, because if I wanted Trey Lance and I placed a $0 bid and nobody else places a bid for him, I get him. Now, I'd keep my spot at number 12 because I actually picked up a player, but it would just start working through the system that way. Maybe I do want to place a $5 bid for him just so that I can maybe try to guarantee I lock him up. You could do that. Right now, you could start picking up players. Maybe there's a player on your team that gets injured this next week before even the games start. Maybe you need to pick up another running back. So you come back again to the top available players. You click on running back, and you can actually go to the view all here, and you can start to view all the players. Here's their projected points for this time. So maybe like for this first week, maybe Travis Homer is going to get you 7.09. Hillard, 5.22. Maybe you just kind of scroll down. Maybe there's some specific players you want. You can also search by the player's last name. It's completely up to you as far as who you want. And then once again, maybe I need a new tight end. Just go down to the tight end. Maybe there's Gesicki or Hayden Hurst that you want. Okay, it's completely up to you. Now, let me go through and kind of talk about trades for a second because, oh, man, trades is where it's at. People get so upset with me because I send you guys a million trades. Don't get upset with me. I love trading. It causes some discussion between me and the other manager, and I absolutely love trading. I don't care. You can ask anybody that I trade with. Most of the time, the other person wins. So let's say, for example, I'm going to trade with Eschaton, right? So if I want to trade with Eschaton, I can actually click on his team. Now, he has not set up his lineup yet, so this is most likely what yours had looked like in the beginning. You just need to scroll down here and you find your players. Let's say I want to trade for Jonathan Taylor. Let's just hypothetically say that. So I click on Jonathan Taylor, and now if you look on the bottom, instead of the waiver, it shows trade. So what I can do is I can click on that trade, shows Jonathan Taylor selected. You could do multiplayer trades if you want as well. It doesn't really matter. So we go ahead and click on Jonathan Taylor. I'd click on next. Now I have to figure out who do I want to give up for Jonathan Taylor. So let's say I want to give up Christian McCaffrey for Jonathan Taylor. I would click there. I would click next. And at that point, this just shows you create trade confirmation. We can see Jonathan Taylor for Christian McCaffrey. I can either click submit here. And at that point, it would send a message over to Eschaton saying, hey, Kenny wants to do a trade with you. Do you accept? Do you counter? You can counter with like, hey, no, I want Christian McCaffrey and somebody else. You could do that. It's completely up to you, or you could just decline the trade. It's totally fine as well. I'm going to go ahead and just cancel this up at the top there just so that nothing really goes through. So that essentially is fantasy football. Your objective, obviously, is to beat your team. So if I go down here to matchup, I click on that. I can see right now I am projected to beat the Rumblers 130 to 112. Do not rely on these projections. These are, again, projections. I may have 130 points projected, and it's happened last year where I roll with 80. I finished the day with 80. I mean, that happens. 50 points less because maybe a player gets injured. They just have 2 bad games or something you never know. Yes, you want to try to obviously have a high projection. percentage of winning, and this will change throughout the week. So if we have a game on Thursday, it'll show my points starting to add up over here. Maybe the Rumblers start getting some points, and the percentage will start adjusting, and you can kind of see up to date pretty quickly after a play happens, kind of seeing how that works. We could also go show league matchups up at the top, and you can start to see how everybody is doing that Sunday or Monday if we're watching, and kind of see where everybody's winning. It's a lot of fun, guys. I mean, it really is. You can just click on the league down here. Again, it shows our ranking system. Again, every last place person. So every week, the person who finishes with the fewest amount of points after I look at the matchups, you're going to have to come down and spin the wheel of shame. It's going to be a lot of fun to kind of have people dressing up on certain days, maybe buying donuts for certain days. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And then remember, the highest points every week will get $10 guaranteed. So really, if you just win 5 weeks out of the 17 that we play, you've gotten your money back. We got $200 for first place, $100 for second place. The way that the playoffs work is the top, I'm changing it up because the money's a little bit higher this year. The top six teams make the playoffs. That means that the people in first and second at the end of the regular season get a bye into the playoffs, meaning the first round is a bye. So that means 3, 4, 5, 6 have to play an in-game to then try to beat the first and second place team after that week. The bottom 6 teams, just because maybe we don't make the playoffs, it doesn't matter. You still have the opportunity to win the $10 that week. But here's the catch, and I'll mention this as we get further into the season. Those bottom 6 teams are the 6 teams that are playing for the highest amount of points in those final 3 weeks. Because the person that gets the lowest total points combined for those 3 weeks, so maybe you score 100 points in that week 15, 100 in week 16, and 100 in week 17, that scores you 300. But if you happen to be in dead last with that 300, it doesn't matter about your season accumulation of points. It's all about just those 3 weeks. At that point, the person in dead last out of those 6 teams is the one who gets the license plate, gets the shirt, and gets the unicorn hat that they get to wear to all staff meetings and bless all our presents wearing that. Person in first gets their $200 and they get the flag in their room for the next year. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Please, please, please just message me, ask me questions. If you're like, hey, I don't know, who should I start, this guy or this guy? Obviously, I'll just give you my belief of who to pick. I can't predict winners for you. I can't do any of that stuff. Fantasy is just a game of projections. You just pick the best and hope for you just hope for it. I mean, that's all you can really do. But you can also do side bets with your opponents if you want to. We've had people do it where if I win, you have to change your name to my team. If I win, you got to buy me lunch for the week. Absolutely do side bets between you and your opponent. It's a lot of fun. Get the kids involved as well. I sometimes have kids go over to the other teacher's room and kind of like be like, hey, you're going to lose and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun, guys. So I'm seriously glad for those who joined our league. I hope you guys really have a great time. I'm going to let you know right now. It's kind of how much time you want to put into it. It really is. If you want to spend a lot of time getting to reading all the articles about the players, absolutely. I mean, you're more than welcome to do that. It does take some time, but it also doesn't take time. You can just sit there. There are some people where what they do is they wait until, I don't know, Friday or Saturday, and they just check their team and they just set the best lineup that they want to, and they just play that. The more engaged you are, the more fun it is. So even if like you're talking with trades or you're talking with the opponents, making those side bets, really engaging in, the losing team has to wear this, and then, that person might have to come by your room to, give you something. I mean, really stay engaged with the league, and I guarantee you're going to have an absolute blast. It's going to be the most fun $50 you might spend here at this school. I absolutely love it. I'm glad for the teams who are returning. That just kind of tells me that we had a really great time with it last year. We have that group text. You can obviously rip on people. Eschaton's just going to get burned left and right in that text. It's a lot of fun, guys. I mean, we all do it for fun. I mean, that's really all it is. We give Eschaton a hard time, but we all love him sometimes down deep. So please, again, just ask. Just ask if you're like, hey, how do I pick up this guy? You can always come by my room after school. I'd be happy to just sit down and show you really quick. And most of the stuff that you might ask me, I could show you within 5 minutes. I could just show you how to do it. If you need help with the app, come on over. I'll show you how to do the app. If you need help with the computer, just trying to figure out how the system works up here, you got all your matchups up here. You got your My Team, the league, all that stuff up here. You guys can come by, talk to me. If you want to edit your team, I believe you can do that as well. I haven't done it in a long time. It might be just in the settings. You can also change your picture as well. So it might just be up here, or it's in the My Team. Oh, there it is. Edit Team Info. So if you want to like change the picture of your team, so if we go here, Edit Team Info on the computer, that's where you can change your team name if you want to come up with something a little bit more creative. You can even give yourself a better picture. Like I went with the Mighty Ducks this year. Awesome movie. Absolutely love it. So just something I like to do, guys. I love fantasy football. It's just a lot of fun. So please, again, come by, talk to me if you need any help. Take a look at that waiver system. Kind of just play around with it. Again, you can always just try the waiver system and then cancel the operation if you want, like just to see how you place a bid. You can always just cancel it, so that way you don't freak out. Okay. Try to watch yourself as far as picking up and dropping players. Okay, because if you drop the wrong player, there's not much I can do. Right now, it's okay because the season hasn't started, and if we accidentally drop a player, we accidentally drop a player. But I'll tell you what, during the regular season, you make a bad choice like that, that's a tough one you're gonna have to live with. You got to kind of learn from that. It's just like we teach our kids. You got to there's consequences for your actions. So just make sure you are careful when you are selecting things. And then yeah, help you guys have a great time. Once again, come by and please just don't be afraid to ask. I'm more than willing to help you guys out. Let's just have a great time. Let's have a great time and enjoy it. See ya.